The idea of being programmed is a powerful one. In the computer science sense, computers can be programmed to perform certain functions when prompted in specific ways. In a similar way, humans can also be programmed, but it would be surprising that your entire life is probably based on a lie. You have been programmed, and just like a computer, you have lost your conscious self to unconscious programming. How? It's simple. It starts from when you were a child. Children are more impressionable, and we know it. Whatever they are brought up to believe becomes a part of who they are. Everyone has been a child once, and you likely still hold certain beliefs without proof based on the ideas that you were taught as a kid. Whether those ideas are good or bad depends on who is doing the programming. While your parents are responsible for kids, their teachers, the neighbors, social media, and random people they meet could have an immense impact on them that it stays in their subconscious, controlling their lives with unhealthy programming that they may consciously not even recognize. Most people grow up believing rich people to be inherently evil. The idea ranged from the belief that rich people get rich at the expense of poor people, perform ruthless acts to become rich, and even sheer greed. If you were a kid who grew up thinking that rich people are all these things, would you ever subconsciously want to become rich? You may consciously understand that you need money to become rich and whatnot, but you will hardly ever pursue wealth as someone who believes rich people can do good, help people, and change the world. You may wonder, well, I'm not a kid anymore. Does that mean that there's nothing I can do? It's not too late, but understanding the root of the problem, the initial programming, and finding the myths, misconceptions, and negative programmings that has been performed on you over the years is a good starting point to not only demystify, but also begin to change your life now. When we listen to motivational speakers and even some psychologists, what they say is that your life is a mindset change away from being totally different. That may not be entirely true, but that message sheds light on where to start, and that would be your mindset. Most of us go to school because our parents who don't know any better told us to pay attention to our studies. We grew up through the educational ladder, and if successful, we are told to get a job that will secure us for the rest of our lives. Suppose you pay attention to the design of the educational system. In that case, you will realize that it favors the students who perform within certain rules and do certain things. The education system doesn't necessarily inspire curiosity, and neither does it reward those who think outside the box. This is because the box has already been defined for what you are being trained for, and your job is to think about something other than the box. To fully understand this, let us go back to Persia, where the world's education system originated. Parents were initially responsible for educating and socializing their children, but that all changed about 200 years ago in Persia, present-day Germany. After Napoleon and his men won against Persia, it was time to make some changes. They decided to train, teach, and indoctrinate a new breed of soldiers who would do anything to win, such as follow commands and rules. They created special buildings, a curriculum, standardized teaching training with certification, and made it compulsory. Now parents were relieved of their duties to teach and socialize kids. It was now the government's job, and it was free. Now the system was based on creating a certain kind of soldier, factory worker, and routine worker. Children were being trained to perform routine tasks. It wasn't necessarily designed to help kids think for themselves. Instead, it was programming them to achieve the aims and objectives of the present-day government, or later, the dominant class of people. This is why we are all taught to get the same education, get a cubicle work, and work our asses off till pension. We aren't necessarily taught about money, although we're trained to work for money in a way that only fits some people's desires. Things are beginning to look rigid because as impressionable kids, you are taught to surrender to a system that isn't designed to favor you, but instead to use it for the greater good. The middle class and wealthy have a common misconception that the poor people make unwise choices. They've been impoverished for generations due to the rampant drug use, alcoholism, and impulse purchases. They do not work hard enough to manage their money. As one might expect, the people who say such things have an easygoing charm and sympathy of a wounded prisoner with a rusted shank. Unfortunately, many came from nothing and now believe they have the financial management skills that others need to gain. There is no doubt that those with rags to riches stories made some wise decisions. However, when it comes to financial management, they are similar to those who are impoverished, and it's all because of the poverty trap. The system is rigged against you. If you find yourself in this situation, there are only a few options for escaping the poverty trap. The poverty trap traps hundreds of millions of people all around the world. It means that no matter how much money you make, there will always be something to throw at you. This could indicate a failure to obtain a loan to launch your business. It is possible to earn even more money while having your welfare reduced. It could also result from unexpected expenses, such as a car breakdown or a medical bill. Let me give you an example from the UK in the mid-2000s. The welfare system was extremely generous to the unemployed back then. You were paid more than the minimum wage worker at the time. Unsurprisingly, many people chose to stay unemployed. Labeling them as lazy is easy, but these people aren't wealthy. Working would result in them earning less money than if they did not work. Only a moron would accept minimum wage job. Of course, times have changed, but the notion that anyone on welfare is lazy, useless, and incapable of managing money persists. These people who remained unemployed at the time were excellent money managers. They made the most profitable decision, regardless of the moral implications. As you can see, someone who went from unemployed to employed lost money. As a result, the poverty trap exists. The poverty trap is not just a catchphrase invented to promote a book. It's a genuine psychological concept that has been researched for decades. Those who have studied it proposed that aid must be given to someone even when they start rebuilding themselves. Only after they have accumulated a certain amount of capital will they be able to withdraw from life support and make something of themselves. That is why society is constantly asked what they want from a welfare state. Do they want it to keep people from going hungry, or do they want it to help people get out of poverty? Contrary to government claims, most Western welfare systems do nothing to lift people out of poverty. They actually encourage poverty rather than murdering people. They keep people in poverty prisons. When a poor person begins to take the right step, society makes them look incompetent, not enough, or lacking. It is touted that you need an MBA to run a successful business or a CPA to manage your finances as the rich do. Such standards have imprisoned so many people's minds and limited their potential regarding their finances. They spend their money anyway because they are made to inherently believe that they can't manage their finances well. But whatever you are made to believe is what will manifest in your life. You may consciously claim not to live based on that reality, but yes, you are. Anyone can be rich, and at any moment in time, you can begin taking certain steps that will change your life. While it is possible to think and grow rich, the book has sold millions of copies and top charts for a reason. Your mindset helps. The book shows you how your mindset can affect your actions and subsequently the results that you get. Have you ever questioned whether Napoleon Hill was correct? Is it possible to think and grow rich? If this is the case, you are not alone. As a career-driven professional, you're looking for ways to gain an advantage in wealth and influence through your life's work. Hill's best-selling book on achieving success in our lives has remained popular even after his death in 1970. Why? Because his blueprint for wealth and abundance is both captivating and straightforward. Why wouldn't the idea of becoming wealthy simply by thinking about it captivate you? Hill lays out 13 principles for success in any line of work, distilled from interviews with many wealthy individuals. Consider his work to be the dissertation for a qualitative, longitudinal research project. It works because of science. People who achieve success are not attempted to achieve success any more than people who achieve failures are not attempting to fail. They both occur automatically as a result of our subconscious programming. The scientific evidence for this is found in our brain's reticular activating system. The RAS is in charge of allowing important information into your brain while filtering out everything else. Consider yourself in a crowded coffee shop, conversing with a friend. There are numerous conversations taking place around you. However, you can concentrate solely on your conversation with your friend. Other conversations aren't valuable to you, so your RAS will filter them out. The same is true for both your conscious and subconscious minds. Any conversation of failure will be filtered out when you engage in a visualization and imagination of your definite purpose. Only conversation about success will move your conscious to your subconscious mind. This enables you to set an intention to accomplish goals related to your specific purpose. You can think and grow rich through your life's work by pursuing meaningful purpose visualization, reprogramming your subconscious mind to accept that success you desire. As I said it from the beginning, understanding the problem is part of solving it, but it isn't all of it. If you are in such a situation that you aren't happy with your finances, your understanding of money, how it works and all that, you need to make some changes. You can't go back and undo what your grade school teacher taught you, but you can begin to rewire your subconscious to recognize and work with new patterns. Now, just as you are programmed with lots of information, you need to take into your hands what information you actively use to form your beliefs. The beliefs that affect your actions should be audited for logical proof. The media has taught us that rich one is always the bad one, ripping off poor people to get insanely rich. But on the flip side, rich people solve problems that poor people willingly pay for. Some of the few steps are reading books, listening to new materials, and talking to people who you want to be like. If you have an educational qualification, you need to use it to your advantage, especially if you're an employee. Having a degree helps you to earn more, but you know what pays more? Skills. Build new skills. Learn the trending fields and acquire skills that will future-proof your income sources. And whatever field or niche you choose, you want to decide that you'll become the best at it. The best not only to get to mention their price, but also choose who they work with, because ultimately, being rich is all about having choices. You don't want to be rich yet to be a slave to someone else's command. You want to own your space, time, and attention. That is real financial freedom.